is for Tech 180A. This is to show my final deliverable for the overall course of what I learned. This is my code that I wrote for my Arduino. The concept here is to use an Arduino to connect through Bluetooth to a Raspberry Pi. This code right here is going to be what is running on my Arduino at current time. As you can see, it's got quite a bit there. I have several functions that are being called. So I got the accelerometer, current orientation, the push button, potentiometer value, and then the packet builder, which is going to be sent to the Raspberry Pi through Bluetooth. And up here is where everything is going to be stated into the loop. So got the accelerometer, the push button, potentiometer value, and then the packet builder, and then it's being sent on to the serial. And it's going to be sent every 0.05 seconds to the Raspberry Pi. And over here is going to be where I have the code for the Raspberry Pi. As for what is being input from the Arduino and sent over, and this is how it is all figured out. So as you can see, I have my different pins that I've initialized, set them as GPIOs for output. I have one of them as a PWM, which is pulse width modulation, so then it can show different speeds of voltage being passed through the LED. And so this is where the packet is input into the Raspberry Pi, and then it is split into these 5 different packages. And then it is checked to see if there's an error for the first and the last package. If that is good, then it'll keep on running. It'll start with saying whether or not the code is in portrait or landscape. Then it'll determine whether or not the button is pressed or not. And finally, it has the pulse width modulation, changing of the duty cycle for how much the LED is going to be, the brightness of it at the current time. And then finally we have the keyboard interrupt, so then we can interrupt the program, and then cleaning up the GPIO pins, so then when we reload the code, it will come back cleaner and not have any errors. So here is my Arduino. I have the Arduino Uno, and it's got a lot of wires running out of it. Got several wires going into the analog terminals there, and then I have a few going into just the digital ones over there. Here's my breadboard that I have. I've got the accelerometer right over here. I have my Bluetooth chip there, and this this LED and resistor are actually not being used. I thought I might use them, but I decided not to. Here's my push button, and then my potentiometer. Over here we have my Raspberry Pi, which is a Raspberry Pi 2. Raspberry Pi 2B is the name of it. As you can see, I have a lot of things connected into the USB ports. One of them is going to be the USB dongle for Bluetooth. I have a connection there for a mouse, the Wi-Fi, and then for a USB keyboard. And then here are the connections for the board itself. So how everything is all wired up to the LED lights. So this light here is going to be for the orientation of the accelerometer in portrait. This one here is going to be if it's in landscape. That one is for if the LED or the push button is pressed, and that one is the pulse width modulation. So I'm going to go ahead and push the button off camera so you can see. And also when I did that, the orientation flipped. I'll flip it back again, and again, and again. And finally, the potentiometer is when it goes all the way down, it's off, and then back up again. It's going to be at its brightest point. And so that is my project. Now I'll go ahead and see if I can get these two closer to each other. Alright, so we have the orientation changing, have the push button, and then the potentiometer. And that is my project.